Hey, what's up guys? Doc Testosterone here with Rabbi Rosenberg. So one thing that a lot of guys ask is if they're skinny, so if you're a skinny motherfucker, how can you look big so you can attract women, right? A lot of women like the gorilla look, the big look, the alpha look. But a lot of guys are skinny. It's really hard to gain weight. So Rabbi Rosenberg is gonna teach us today. First, we're gonna start off with sort of like the warm-up, how to do a warm-up. And then we're gonna teach you, if you're very skinny and it's hard for you to go to a badass gym to get bigger, we're gonna teach you some tricks and tips and workouts which are easy, which will also make you appear big. So you may not actually be big, but you will at least appear big, which is a good start for you, and see how that helps you, all right? So I'm gonna give it to Rabbi now, and he's gonna sort of do an introduction to what we're gonna do today and what body parts are important to actually look bigger, even if you're skinny. And then we're gonna actually start the warm up. So give it off to Rabbi.
Hey guys, so today we're gonna start off with some trap exercises. We're mainly gonna focus on Olympic weightlifting movements. So we'll do a lot of trap pulls. So clean pulls, snatch pulls. We'll do some shrugs, and then we're gonna show you how we can warm up, how we can stretch to get ready for it, and then how to finish off.
Sweet. All right, so we're gonna first get started with the warm up. And so essentially we're gonna do the entire warm up for you guys, without talking, we're just gonna do it. And then after every warm up, we're gonna explain what the hell we did and why it's important. So make sure you do that warm up before you start the exercise.
Okay, so I like to go up to incline 4.
Okay.
And I'll go up to speed between 3 to 4, depending on how I feel. But
so 3.5 is good?
Yeah, 3.5 is good.
Okay.
And just a walk. And I'll do this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how I feel.
Okay.
If I feel tighter than usual, then I'll do 10. If not, then I'll do 5, just to get blood flowing everywhere.
Okay, cool. So basically, we're doing this, and it's, a lot of you don't think that warming up is very important, right? So a lot of people, they don't warm up, they just start lifting, and then they pull stuff when they're older. Honestly, for me, I learned mobility and stretching through Strength Camp, right? I was there for 8 months, I learned a lot of mobility.
I learned a lot from you as well.
Right, you learned from Elliot too. So for me, stretching, warming up is very important. I do it all the time, and it's super, it's very natural to me now, warming up, right? So now some people have this theory of it's more important to stretch after than before. What are your thoughts on it, before or after, pre or post?
Well, back when I used to do Olympic weightlifting, I did it for about 2 years. I was not allowed to touch the bar until my trainer saw that I had warmed up for at least 10 minutes cardio-wise, just so I can get my blood going. And then I had to stretch, and he told me exactly what to do. It would change every day. And then at the same time, when I ended, I'd stretch and do accessory movements. So just how I was brought up into this.
Okay, now the other interesting thing is, a lot of guys think that if they do cardio, they're gonna lose gains, right? Like when I was at APC, Chris told me, he's like, hey man, don't do a lot of cardio, because if you wanna become bigger, especially like we're teaching these guys, if they're skinny, how to become bigger, or to look bigger, even if you're not, they're gonna think like, oh, if I do this cardio, I'm gonna lose gains. What do you think?
Well, that's solely dependent on the amount of cardio you do and the type. If you're gonna be doing a marathon every day, then yes, you're gonna lose a lot of gains.
Okay.
But you're not getting your heart to a high enough beat per minute that you're gonna lose muscle. You need this, or else if your muscles aren't ready for the training, they're not gonna break down properly for you to get the gains that you want.
Now, again, some guys may not have all this time, right? So do you, for example, a guy's like, hey, look, man, I got 20 minutes every day to work out, because, it's an excuse. He's a liar. He does have a lot of time, but he'd rather watch porn or something. So if a guy's like, hey, man, I have 20 minutes to work out, 30 minutes to work out, I don't have time to do a 10-minute stretch and then a 10-minute, later do the, the stretch routine post-workout after. What do you tell him?
As for before, I think it's very crucial. I don't think there's much of a way around it. try and wake up earlier. Other than that, I can't think of another way. But after, there's many things you can do. I used to watch my shows and I would stay in a position. You keep it for a certain amount of time, you switch. For example, Ido Portal, I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
At some point I would eat in a squat because he believed 30 minutes a day you should be in a squat. So at some point I ate in a squat. So there's always time, you can always find time to do it. You just gotta allow yourself to think of ways to do it.
So right now we are at the almost 5 minutes. Once we finish 5 minutes here, what's the next step?
So we'll go on to doing dynamic warm-up. We'll get our lower body ready and prepped for the pulls. Upper body as well, we'll do band work, and then we'll get onto it.
I know we were talking in the elevator before about some guys think that like stretching is pussies and stuff. It's not like a manly thing to stretch. And what would you say to someone like, you know, some fucker at LA Fitness who's just going and starts lifting and then he leaves? What is your advice for him?
My advice for him would be, would you prefer to lift heavy for a year? Would you prefer to lift heavy for a year or for 10? And if you can answer and you say 1, then sure, don't stretch. But if your answer is 10, then you have to start stretching.
So he has a lot of experience with Olympic weightlifting and just like doing the right type of warm-ups and stuff. Have you seen any big injuries in people, or they stopped just because they weren't stretching? Like, have you seen that in real life? And what happened?
Okay, personally for me, before I did Olympic weightlifting, I was a wrestler. And for wrestling, they didn't really tell me to stretch. So I assumed I'm not gonna do it, and that's it. I ended up severely hurting my shoulder and stopping. And to this day, it still bothers me. I fixed it. I went to a lot of physio. I started stretching it. I did a lot of exercises to improve it. But to this day, it's not the same.
Now, I also have a question on the Olympic weightlifting sport, right? I mean, it's not something that's very lucrative, right? People aren't gonna make a lot of money by doing Olympic weightlifting, so why do you do it? Like, what's your motivation to become an Olympic weightlifter? It's not like something so glamorized, like bodybuilding or strength training or, you know, athletic stuff. Why? What's your motivation?
I would rather not look like I can lift heavy than be able to look like I can lift heavy but not. So it's also a lot more fun. I'd rather not go to the gym and do 6 sets of bicep curls. I'd rather do cleans, heavy squats. Personally for me, it's more enjoyable. And it could be lucrative. There are a lot of people out there making money off of it. Dmitry Klokov, John North. Some people are doing it. It's like anything, you can do anything.
Got it. Now, this is gonna be the final question because the warm-up's almost done. Yeah. So Mark at Strength Camp, he's an Olympic weightlifter. He does a lot of mobility videos, Olympic videos. He almost says like, the body of an Olympic weightlifter is what most people strive for, right? Because bodybuilder, okay, you do a lot of hypertrophy, but you might not be super strong if you're just a bodybuilder. But an Olympic weightlifter is very strong, right? So Mark always told me like, if you want the body of an Olympic weightlifter, then there's no way around it but to do Olympic weightlifting. But here's the thing, what we're about to teach you today will get you started on having that body, but you're not gonna have to do the complicated movements of what an Olympic weightlifter might have to do. So we're trying to introduce you to this concept and make you amazing at it, eventually.